The internal leader of the Biafran state, late General Chukwemeka Dumegwajuku, of course, made a very frantic statement that the reason for defending the Biafran state was to protect Biafrans from being killed by their enemies. If you have to judge the success or the failure of the Biafran people in the war against, of course, Nigeria, then you have to consider how much the Biafrans were able to prevent their enemies from killing them.
The war aim of Biafra is purely to prevent ourselves being slaughtered, nothing more. We haven't got the sophisticated war aim of Nigeria to conquer, to overrun, to do something or the other. For us, merely to prevent. And if anybody is going to judge our success and failure in this war, it will have to depend on how much we have prevented the enemy from killing us.
Your reaction to that very silent point?
The late General Chukwemeka Odumegwuchukwu, the African Napoleon, is right. He said the reality. That the war, the Afro-Nigerian war, was fought to keep Biafran race moving, to keep them alive, for a generation like this to come up and finish up the war and have final victory for Biafra, which was what Samanipa was doing. And if you watch what our late leader said, that the declaration of Biafran independence is just to identify who are the Biafran, to protect them from what? From wiping them off from the surface of the earth, which was the aim of Fulani Caliphate and the British government as of that time. Remember, during the pre-independence in Lokoja, where the office of Frederick Lugard was, which is the state house of Kogi State now. On the meeting, Ahmadu Bello rise up and said he will wipe off, use non-Fulani in the north as a willing tool to conquer the south, and use south as a conquer territory, and he will wipe away the easterners as a whole, and use their land for grazing, because their land is good for green pastures. He says so. And immediately after the independence, we got independent October 1st, 1960. Then October 12th, the same 1960, 11 days interval, Ahmadu Bello come out in pilot newspaper, owned by that time, owned by Zeke, and said this enterprise called Nigeria supposed to be his grandfather Usman Dafodio housing estate. Then you're supposed to know what it means. So all these things, and they're looking for the opportunity to carry out the extermination of the Biafran race, which they got in 1967. But God raised Ojukwu up, a man with a bold heart, to stand up and declare Biafra, so that we will fight to protect Biafra. And what exactly he said? What exactly he said? That before anybody will count the failure or losing of Biafra of the war, you should count how Biafra have struggled to stop their enemy of massacring them, of wiping them off, which is Biafra did a lot. Because look at it, China, Russia, Britain, all the whole Arab Muslim world support Nigeria. We are fighting on behalf of Nigeria. The whole Soviet Union fighting on behalf of Nigeria. Cameroon fighting on behalf of Nigeria. Even Ghana fighting on behalf of Nigeria. Niger, Chad, Mali, all of them fighting on behalf of Nigeria. Not only moral, but they send troops fighting. You understand? But Biafra was able to hold them for 3 years plus, and which means what Ojukwu said, don't count our loss, but count how we manage to defend Biafra and to stop enemies not to wiping Biafra off. And without that war Ojukwu declare, I think there be nothing like Igbo race or Biafra race in this surface of the earth by now. Had it been we try to follow the footstep of Ojukwu, I mean footstep of Zik, Ombadiwe, Okpabiasika, Victor Banjo, Melifa Juna, had it been we try to follow their way, even Margaret Ekpo and Kensarawiwa, Asikataka Boro, if you try to follow their way and succumb, I think by now there nothing could have been south south southeast, nothing like that. They could wipe the whole entire Biafra nation off and use their place as cattle ranch, which is what they are still trying to do. But thank God, with Ojukwu and other Biafrans, they resist the enemy not to wipe Biafrans off. Had they been they succeeded that time, all these fearful politicians parade themselves now in Abuja, call themselves Igbo senators, Igbo reps, Igbo businessmen, Igbo Ohaneze Anamana, and the co. Where could have they be? Nobody can know them. They could not have been existing. There be nothing like them. You understand? But if you watch it, indirectly, Biafra won the war. Because Biafra fight to preserve the upcoming generation. They won the war. Forget about no victor, no vanquish. Forget about we return back to Nigeria. But the Biafra fought, won the war indirectly because Ojukwu and the people that the youth that supported him were able to stop Nigerian Fulani Caliphate, so the federal Caliphate, not to wipe off the Biafran race through the hand of Gowon and his men. You understand? They deliberately plant Gowon there and his jantas so that it will look like it's not a ethnic cleansing. It will look like it's not religious cleansing. But these two things are there underground. Even in 1968, when it comes clear that the Usman Dafodian Caliphate, known as Nigeria, holds the upper hand in the war, they plot to kill Gowon. They plot to remove him before British intervene. Say, no, don't do it. They plot to kill him and declare it completely Sharia war. But the British government came and told them, so no, don't try it. If you try it, these people you want to overthrow are the one fighting the war. They may turn their back now and say no more, and you cannot jump them to go and fight the Biafrans. That is why they leave Gowon to complete the war. You understand? So what Ojukwu said is reality, because don't count whether we raise Biafran flag as we win the war, but count the cause that lead to the war. The cause that leads to war is to wipe away extermination of Biafrans, which Ojukwu used the war to stop. Now we are coming back. This generation have already preserved. This generation have already secured. The generation have already allowed them to grow, to know what was happening. This is why they remove history in Nigerian school curriculum, so that nobody will read history and know what happened in the war. But thank God, people like Nnamdi Kanu can read from outside. People like Simon Ekpa and others can read from outside. Now, these are the new generation, the young generation Ojukwu fought to preserve, that we finally raise Biafran flag up as a winner of the war. They have come up now. And you can see Biafran flag all over now. You can see Biafran flag all over the world now. All the whole places, Simon Ekpa and the Biafran government in exile were able to open Biafran liaison office or embassy's house. You will see Biafran flag flying there, which Nigeria did not believe it will happen. The only thing remain now is Biafran flag to fly in the United Nations, fly in the Commonwealth, and fly in AU. That's the only thing that remains. for Biafran flag to do. And for Nigeria to say this is Biafran embassy in Nigeria land, that's the only thing. We shall know that very soon Nigeria themselves will recognize Biafra.
Edendo. Junu ndunu kono dendo. Nunu ga-enwe mmeri. Asị Chineke gbaa unu ume. Asị Chineke nye unu ndụ n'enu ndụ. Asị Chukwu nye unu ike n'enu ike. Especially His Excellency Prime Minister Samuel Ekpa na Biafra Liberation Army, Biafra Media Team, Biafra Government in Ezai. Chukwu gbaa unu ume. Chukwu nye unu ndụ. Chukwu nye unu arụ isi ike ka Biafra bịa. Biafra abịago. Anyị enwego Biafra. Nwoke ama egbochie, nwaanyị ama egbochie. Asị m mmụọ niile nọ n'ala Igbo, mmụọ niile, o nwere nke nọ na South Africa na-eso m, o nwere nke na-eso ndị Igbo iyi nọ na Finland, ndị efurefu, ndị bandit atụrụ di ya na-eme human trafficking. Ana m asị mmụọ niile so unu ga-ekwu okwu sị Biafra ma bịa anajidekwe yo ise, anajidekwe yo ise, anajidekwe ha ise. Otu a soro afọ, otu a ka ọ ga-adị ruo ebighị ebi. Onwe mmụọ ga-ebinikwu okwu ọzọ n'ihi na spirit of Biafra epossessigo m, possessie Biafra Liberation Army, possessie Prime Minister Samuel Ekpa, possessie Biafra Government in Ezai, possessie Biafra team, Biafra teams. Onwe ihe na-emenụ, possessie Biafra autopilot. Ya dịrị unu mma, ya dịrị unu mma, ya dịrị unu mma. Onye si na Prime Minister Samuel Ekpa Njoku amadị ndụ for Biafra ma ọ bụ na onye ha complete his mission na inweta Biafra, azụ m onye ha werekwa ala zere mmiri egbe eluigwe wepụkwe ndụ ya, ya dakwa ibi ya tụkwaba ya dachikwere trela aja ana Igbo na anyanwụ ndị mbụ na ndị egede rikwe isie na eke oyi afọ nkwọ. Azụ m ya dịrị anyị mma. I will die in supporting Prime Minister Samuel Ekpa Njoku, and I'm ready to die. I'm ready to drop my last blood. He said.